It's no secret that how we use the car or rent our cars is changing. We have car share systems, Uber, an evolving taxi industry, as the mayor yesterday pointed out, even a future of autonomous cars. It's an exciting time with new models of how to use and share the car being presented to us all. One of the newest comes from Kitchener-Waterloo, and to talk about it, please welcome the CEO of RideCo, Prem Gururajan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here today to share some new ideas with everyone. By way of introduction, RideCo is a new Canadian company in the ride-sharing space. And we've created a new model for transportation. We call it personalized mass transit to help commuters get to work in ways other than driving themselves. And it's a model that can help cities reduce congestion. So before I jump into the details of personalized transit, I'd like to tell you a bit about how it got started and some of the problems that we were trying to solve. So a few years ago, my sister was telling me about her daily commute. She lived in the GTA. And what would have taken 15 to 20 minutes by taxi or car took her over an hour by bus. And it included a lot of walking and some transfers. And I heard about it at all the family dinners, and I thought to myself, this is ridiculous and it needs to be solved. And obviously, this is not a unique case. We all know that dissatisfied commuters, they're all over North America and the world, and it's a major problem. So I'm an engineer and an entrepreneur. I like to break everything down to metrics and numbers. So when I started diving deeper into this problem, and I tried to understand why things were as bad as they were, I looked at the most commonly available options available to someone living in the city, commuting. If you're not driving yourself, you're either taking the public bus, or occasionally you might be taking a taxi or an Uber. And we'll look at these common models along a couple of dimensions. The average cost to the consumer, the competitiveness in time relative to driving yourself. And the third one is really important, that's the efficiency at which these systems move people. So it's a no-brainer. Taking the bus is very cost-effective. You can take it every day. In Toronto, using the 5-mile ride as a reference, it's about $20 if you take a taxi. It gets to $15 if you're taking an Uber, and with their Uber pool type thing where you may be matched, and if you're lucky enough to get matched with someone else, it can probably drop to $9. It's nice, but not good enough to take every day for most people. In terms of transit time, if you happen to live on an express bus route where your start and your end points are on the same route, it can work really well. But if you're, like most people, having to walk and transfer, it's quite inconvenient. In the case of my sister, it's 3 times worse than driving, but let's be optimistic and say it's twice as worse. Taking a taxi obviously is door to door, and it's just as good, if not better, than driving yourself. And this last element is also a key aspect in understanding the modes of transportation. It's how many passengers does each unit of driver time or vehicle time move. So a decent public bus system will move about 20 or more passengers per vehicle hour. As a reference, TTC, I think, is between 50 to 60 passengers per bus hour. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got taxis and Ubers that move between 1 to 2 passengers per vehicle hour. Very inefficient, it's not scalable, but it's hyper convenient. As an example, Uber in New York City, which is the densest and largest market for ride-sharing in North America, is 1.5 passengers per vehicle hour. So when you look at this picture, you see a huge gulf. On one end, as a commuter, I have affordability, a lot of inconvenience, unless I happen to be on an express route and so on. And you've got the other end with taxis and Ubers, where it's hyper convenient, but it's not effective enough to take every day. So there needs to be a middle, and RideCo is creating that middle. So in our model of personalized transit, The end user, for a 5-mile journey as a reference, pays between $4 to $6, slightly more than public bus. And granted, it's not a fair comparison because the public bus is subsidized, but to the end user it costs a bit more than bus, significantly cheaper than a taxi or Uber. And because you're sharing rides with other people, the vehicle has to pick you up and pick up some other people and drop you off. Transit time is a bit more than driving yourself, but a lot better than taking the bus. And there are no transfers. So in order to unlock this experience for commuters and to make this experience possible, we need to have a technology platform that moves people more efficiently than the on-demand taxi or Uber model. So in our model, we've got vans or shuttles and sedans that move between 4 to 10 passengers per vehicle hour. So think of it as a van with a dynamic route. It picks you up, it picks up some other people, it drops everyone off in a certain sequence. But it does it in a way that is respectful of your time and gets you to where you want to go without any transfers. So RideCo's technology, or our vision for what it needs to enable, is a transportation network where you have the choice of where you want to get picked up and dropped off. You get door-to-door service or hub-to-hub. There are no transfers, and the transit time is competitive to driving your car. And that's the only way we can get people out of their car. And it needs to be affordable enough to take every day, which current ride-sharing companies and taxis don't achieve. So I'm going to actually share some operating metrics. We're live and operating in Milton right now, just a few slides later. But essentially, we've created a breakthrough technology platform that allows users, commuters, to pre-book rides. And the technology aggregates these rides and creates optimized routes for drivers in a way that minimizes the deviations the vehicle needs to make and gets everyone to where they need to go on time. I'll walk you through what the user experience looks like, and we'll jump into some operating metrics. So as a consumer, you can download the RideCo app from the Apple or Android stores. You enter your origin and your destination, the date and time you want to go. You can do this minutes or days in advance. The earlier you book, the more options you'll have, and the better the prices will be. And when you hit search, it returns back options. The top option, obviously, is the door-to-door type option that you search for. But in addition to that, there are other options provided at different prices. For example, if you're willing to walk to a nearby street corner or a plaza, we call it a micro hub, then it's a cheaper fare, because you could have multiple people boarding the vehicle at the same time, which is more efficient, and we pass on those savings to the consumer. If you're willing to take the ride at a later time, if you're willing to book in advance, it's a lower fare. So you pick the option that best suits you based on whether you're time sensitive, location sensitive, so on. You book your ride. The credit card is stored on your app, so you just press a button and it books your ride. And 10 minutes before your ride, you can open up your app and track your driver as they come to pick you up. And you can conveniently hop out of your home or walk to the nearby micro hub and get into the vehicle just in time. So we launched the service in Milton. We did it in partnership with the city and Metrolinx. So the business challenges that Metrolinx or Go Transit was trying to solve is how do you improve access to the transit hub without building more parking spots. Building a parking spot in the GTA costs about $20,000 in upfront capital, plus there's ongoing maintenance cost, operating expense. And obviously the city is interested in improving access to the transit hub for its residents. So we launched this. It's a door-to-door service to and from the GO train station. It costs a little bit more than the public bus fare, but it's very convenient. And we partner with local taxi companies. They provide us with vans and their drivers to provide the service. The drivers all have the RideCo app that tells them where to go next. So it'll say, go here and pick up this person, next, go pick up that person, next, drop them off. So they're shared rides, and the driver follows what the app tells them to do. So here are some metrics 4 months into our launch. The first thing we wanted to prove was whether consumers or commuters will adopt this experience. It's not quite on demand like a taxi, it's not quite a static route scheduled like a bus. And we're seeing that the adoption has been fantastic. So within a few months, iteration 1 of our technology and platform, nearly 10% of commuters that use the GO train station use this service. And this is actually metrics from early September, so we're probably over 10% by now. And we're seeing that it's very sticky. About 30% ended up using it on a regular basis. They became weekly active users. And I'm confident as we improve the service and iterate on it, we're going to get those numbers even higher. The growth has been fantastic, as I mentioned, and we're having fun with it. What's most interesting to us was when we surveyed our riders, we learned that a majority of them were previously driving. They were either driving directly to work or driving and parking at the GO train station. So we were accomplishing the objective of getting people out of their car by giving them a personalized transit experience that was convenient and door-to-door. The other thing we wanted to prove was the unit economics. Are we achieving that middle option that I showed you earlier, where it's a lot more convenient than taking a bus, and it's a lot more efficient than the taxi or Uber model? And we're seeing that it is. So because they're shared rides, there is a bit more of a delay than driving yourself. Although if you factor in congestion and parking and walking, it's probably about the same. The average rider is seeing about 5 minutes of delay compared to driving themselves. So again, it's very convenient. The system, the back-end technology has worked really well. We spent years in R&D building this technology platform, and most of the rides are either on schedule or ahead of schedule. And the 4% that are behind schedule are probably about 4 to 6 minutes late. And the final element is the efficiency. So as of now, and this is improving every week as the ridership grows, we're already almost 2 to 3 times the efficiency of the on-demand taxi model. If you recall from an earlier slide, I showed how Uber in New York City is about 1.5 passengers per vehicle hour, and we're nearly 3 times that right now. And we haven't even hit scale yet, so we're confident that as the service expands and ridership grows, we're going to achieve some massive economies of scale. So things are going great in Milton. We're already in discussions about expanding the service to additional locations in the Greater Toronto area. And what excites me when I wake up every day is the potential to meaningfully improve the lives of commuters all around the Greater Toronto area. So based on the studies that Statistics Canada has published, there are an estimated 360,000 dissatisfied commuters in the GTA. And even if half of them are willing to try personalized transit, you're looking at a massive impact to improve the lives of commuters, and also for the city, reducing congestion. That wraps up the speech for today. I'll be hanging out for a few minutes afterwards, and I've got my co-founder, Matthew Montaigne, back. Feel free to stop by and ask questions if you have any. Thank you.